Hey guys, just another quick Walking Dead video for anyone who's really interested. Honestly, if you've been watching this show as much as I have recently, I'm actually going to start picking up Fear the Walking Dead as soon as I have time. Honestly, I've been way busier than I thought I was going to be this semester, but it is what it is. But personally, season 7 for the most part has been really a grab bag of a year, honestly. Some of the coolest scenes that we've ever seen in the entire show, while also some of the most boring things that we have ever seen. And here's the big problem, I think, with that. You have really interesting characters. Like I've said before, and a lot of people have said, I know I'm not the first one to say this, but they have lost all kind of idea of what they were and where they were going. Little by little, but surely they're actually getting there. They've made really interesting characters kind of boring this season, and I feel like this season in particular, other than, we saw kind of the height of this, character-centric episode by episode, one character at a time, maybe even two characters at a time type of episodes really work very well after the prison and all the disorientation after the prison and the governor and everything like that. It really worked. It really kind of helped reset the story, especially with all the background scenes and everything like that. And they just learned all the wrong lessons from that, and not having the ensemble basically working together, even if they're not in the same area, just kind of intercutting different stories together instead of focusing on one character and one situation at any given time. It's just so boring to me, and it's weird because this season is kind of, it's the weirdest thing, because I've always felt like this for the last couple of years, that if they can at least focus an entire episode on a character that I actually like, then it would be fine. Kind of what they did in, season 4, where you had basically Daryl and Beth going around, or maybe even Carl, when he was kind of coming into his own around that time in terms of a character or something like that. I've always just kind of sat around and was like, for the last 2 seasons, these things would have actually worked if they gave an entire episode to someone like Daryl, or maybe if they gave an entire episode to someone like Carol, or Maggie, or any of the other interesting characters that we've seen throughout. And look, it's worked. We've seen some awesome episodes in this entire series. The kind of sexcation episode that we got with Rick and Michonne a couple weeks back was one of the best things I think we've ever seen in that show for a really long time. It was kind of hopeful, funny, and also just kind of really nice to see that relationship grow, especially after the whole Maggie and Glenn thing at the end of this, the beginning of this season. But having the whole prisoner episode with Daryl just didn't really do it for me. I know it might have done it for some people. Maybe that wasn't necessarily the best show in the entire series. And having a complete Daryl-centric episode, for the most part, they had to deal with the saviors and all that stuff. But having a Daryl-centric episode is something that I've been wishing for a long time. It just didn't really work out. Same thing with the whole Carol episode when we got introduced to the kingdom. Morgan was there, and they were trying to kind of introduce Ezekiel and all the stuff in the kingdom. It just didn't really work, and now we're just kind of in this weird fluctuation between all this stuff. So, personally, this is just something I think that I just wanted to kind of get across is, should we get into a situation where they need to start actually speeding up this show a little bit more, honestly. They need to start speeding up this show in the sense where, look, we got 16 episodes a season, 16 episodes divided into basically 2 half seasons, 8 episodes each. And it's not to say that they don't have that story potential. It's not to say that there's no payoff. Honestly, if Walking Dead is anything, I've said before, you've had to kind of just wait. You cannot watch this show week to week to week because it's frustrating as hell. But binge watching this show, it's a completely different experience, and I can understand why the ratings are falling. I think a lot of people are understanding that and starting to basically wait for this show to come up on Netflix and everything like that. But personally, this is just something that I was just thinking about is, should AMC take, I guess, a hint from HBO, who's kind of wrapping up or trying to wrap up in the most effective way possible the Game of Thrones series, at least this particular Game of Thrones series, if they do a prequel and everything. I mean, I can't wait to see what they do with the show. I caught up with that show over the break, watched all of it, just completely binged it. I really, really appreciate it, enjoy it. That being said, I'm not necessarily sure I would say, it's definitely better than The Walking Dead, but The Walking Dead has just been around for me for a longer part, but that's not necessarily this video. I'm thinking that, look, The Walking Dead started as kind of a smaller series, and it slowly built its way up to being a little bit more every single season. I think it was like 7 episodes the first season, 13 episodes the second season, and then 16 from there on out. And it's just starting to feel old at this point. And considering the fact that what HBO is doing with Game of Thrones is that they are basically not necessarily cutting the budget, but they're just cutting the episode count. So we're seeing more money. We're going to be seeing more money in every given episode, and it's going to actually kind of come better off on screen. I'm wondering, considering the fact that AMC is basically losing viewership and all this other stuff, that maybe they should start cutting episodes. I'm not talking about like maybe more drastically. I think my idea would be cutting it 8 episodes a season. The Walking Dead, in a very quick paced 8 episodes a season, would be something to kind of behold. Taking all the story, condensing it into something a little bit more free flow, make every single episode something to watch, something to really kind of get excited for and everything, and make us crave it and want it so much more, especially since, they have Fear the Walking Dead, which they can keep as 16 episodes if they want. I think it was like 15 or 16 episodes this last season. I'm not necessarily sure, but keep that as is and just completely like ride those coattails right onto Fear the Walking Dead, where people are wanting more and more, and then they want their favorite characters back and everything, because Fear the Walking Dead might be good, but they're not Rick, Daryl, Carol, Michonne, and all the other people that we've known and loved for the last 7 years or something. So that's just an idea. They can probably cut it down to 8 and have some create another kind of concept of must-watch television without having to sacrifice quality and anything like that. I guess on the bad side, it would look like they're kind of giving up, or they're trying to cut episodes down for less than quality's sake. I mean, I guess that could be an issue for them. Personally, I don't really feel that way. I don't necessarily think that that's something that they need to do or need to worry about. I mean, no one can doubt how successful this show is, and just because they've had a small dip in ratings this season doesn't mean they're not going to be even more successful going forward. Obviously, AMC really appreciates and believes in this property. This season has done more than any other season prior, or anything in the comic books really, the comics books are one thing, but at least live action wise, they're really expanding and developing this world further and more beyond this year. With season 7 basically kind of updating itself and exploring more different types of environments and groups and all this other stuff. And then, with the whole Fear the Walking Dead, and then other kind of talks about maybe if the success continues, maybe some kind of other spinoff down the line or something else or whatever. I've also talked about that stuff on my channel before. I'll link it in the description section below if you do want to kind of get in on that and everything. So guys, just tell me what you think about this. Do you think that maybe The Walking Dead should kind of reduce its episode count for season 8, or maybe even season 9? I think maybe it probably is a little too late to kind of talk about season 8 at this point, but we do know that we're actually getting a season 8. I've talked about maybe season 8 should be the end, but looking at what they've been wanting to do and looking at how they want to progress with this show, definitely doesn't seem like the end, even close to the end. They've been talking about for the last, I guess it would be even 6 years, really 6 or 5 years, that they're going to go to season 12. They want season 12, they want season 13 and everything like that. So we're just going to have to wait and see if they actually do that. But look, if they go that far, that's fine. I feel like there's a lot of story to be told right here. They just need to tell it quicker. I feel like one of the things people hate, and one of the things is it's a slow-paced story. I can wait for it. This is more binge-watching material. And that's something that's going to start hurting them as time goes on, because people would rather just, pirate it anyway or watch it on Netflix and stuff. People aren't buying home videos anymore and anything like that. So it's just something to think about. I want to hear everyone's opinions about this. What do y'all think about them basically reducing the episode count for season 8 or season 9, 10 or 11, 12, whatever? And how do you think that do you think that's a sign of weakness? Do you think it's kind of a sign of trying to show look, we know that this is what y'all want. Y'all want fast-paced zombie action with all the characters you know and love, and interacting stories with all the characters, or at least intertwined, so we're not basically just dragging on with one character like Eugene for an entire episode, or Tara. Respect to anyone who actually likes those characters or feel like they're the best ones around, but personally, I don't necessarily think that. I don't necessarily think that those side characters are the best ones that the show has to offer. But to each his own, honestly. That's just something I guess we all have to kind of, who is your favorite character? Like that's something I want to know. Like, who's your favorite character? Who's gotten an episode either this season or last season or something like that you were actually really excited to see, because it is something they're focusing more and more on. I can almost guarantee you in season 8 we're going to get a whole Negan episode, Negan 2 or 3 episodes. They're going to milk that thing like they did in the comic books, so we're just going to have to wait and see about that. Anyway, guys, like I keep saying, please make sure to leave your comments and share your thoughts in the comment section below. Don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe. Share this video out to all your friends, and subscribe for more, albeit kind of infrequent, Walking Dead content, news, and discussions. I'll catch you on the next video. Bye.